Welcome to the next 100 Season 1 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you haven't watched the first 4 episodes of the 100 Season 1, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, already seen the show one other time, wanted to rewatch it and do reviews on the channel, so join me on the journey and let's discuss this awesome and amazing show in the comments section. With that said, this will be the 100 Season 1 Episode 4. The title of this episode is called Murphy's Law, and this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. We start with Clark, who's at Wells' grave, and she leaves flowers. Then Finn approaches and tells her that she should not be alone because that is how the Grounders got to Wells. He then produces a colored pencil and tells her he got it at the art supply store. Clark begins to reminisce how Wells was always getting her drawing materials by trading in his own stuff on the Ark. She tells Finn how Wells let her hate him so much so she wouldn't hate her mother for killing her father, and decides to make her mother feel what she is feeling right now. And then we have an alarm sound in the Earth monitoring station, and Abby sees that it is Clark's title has gone dark this time. Jackson tries calming Abby as Abby tries to rationalize why Clark's wristband would be terminated and asks Jackson for a record of Clark's vital signs. Monty tells Clark that he did it and was able to keep Clark's wristband fully operational. Now all he needs to do is patch it into the dropship's mainframe, and they'll be talking to the Ark by nightfall. Outside of the dropship, others are busy constructing a wall, and Murphy reports to Bellamy that they'll be finished with the section they're working on by tomorrow. Connor drops a tree trunk, and Murphy gets on his case, pointing out Wells. Meanwhile, Murphy has given Connor his water break by peeing on him. Interesting. Murphy then orders the rest of the delinquents or others to go back to work. Now, Murphy, you hate Murphy initially, but Murphy becomes one of the best characters on the 100 if you're on this journey for the first time. Octavia is leading Jasper outside the camp walls for the first time since he was speared the week before. She is suddenly grabbed and pulled behind a tree stump. Jasper runs outside the walls to save her, only to find out that it was John Mbengi. I don't remember how to pronounce that guy's name, but I don't think he lasts very long, considering I don't even remember him from watching it the first time. They're just playing a prank. So Jasper turns around to go back inside the camp and trips and falls and discovers Wells's disembodied fingers and a knife on the forest floor. Marcus Kane asks Abby if she is heading to the station and asks why she has been down there 9 times in the past week. He invites himself along, but Abby tells him he'll have to be because a mechanic came down with strep throat and she doesn't want another outbreak. Marcus Kane declines and asks her to keep him informed. Abby then leaves to meet with Rabin at the escape pod she is refurbishing. Rabin tells Abby the delay is because she needs a pressure regulator before they can launch. Abby tells Rabin that Clark's wristband went out, and Rabin tells her she will get a pressure regulator that day. Jasper and Octavia show Clark and Bellamy the knife and fingers. Clark realizes the knife belongs to one of the others, and that the Grounders didn't murder Wells. It was one of them. Bellamy tells Clark she needs to keep this quiet because fear of the Grounders is building the wall that is keeping them safe. Clark points out the knife belongs to John Murphy, and the others have the right to know that he murdered Wells. Clark storms out of the tent and confronts Murphy about the knife. She tells Murphy he's going to pay for it, and Octavia pipes up that Murphy also tried to kill Jasper. Murphy says he doesn't have to answer to anyone when Bellamy steps in. Murphy tells Bellamy he didn't do it. Clark asks the crowd if they want a society with no rules. Connor shouts out that they should float Murphy, and the crowd agrees. Connor says it is justice, but Clark calls it revenge. Connor then begins to chant a float Murphy, and the crowd attacks Murphy and beats him as he is bound and gagged. They string up a noose and wrap it around his neck as Clark begs them to stop. They pull Murphy up on the rope, hanging him from a branch, and Connor gets the crowd to chant for Bellamy to kick the crate from under Murphy. Clark pleads with Bellamy, telling him she saw him with Adam and knows that he's not a killer. Bellamy shoves her away and kicks the crate from under Murphy, yelling at Clark that it is her fault for letting everyone know that the Grounders didn't kill Wells. As Murphy twists and wriggles at the end of the rope, Finn comes running up and tries to put a stop to it, but Connor holds him off. Charlotte pushes forward and admits that she was the one who killed Wells. Clark grabs the axe from Bellamy's waist and cuts the rope holding Murphy as Finn unties him. Raven arrives at the mess hall to speak with Nigel, the woman in charge of the black market on board the Ark. She asks for a pressure regulator, and Nigel tells Raven that she'll need to sleep with the chief of electrical in order to get that part. Raven tells Nigel to float herself, and Nigel tells Raven that her mother took that deal many times, causing Raven to fly off the handle and be carried out by one of Nigel's workers. Bellamy, Clark, and Finn are talking with Charlotte inside a tent. Charlotte tells them she was trying to slay her demons. Outside, Murphy is calling for Charlotte and to let him punish her like they wanted to punish Murphy. Bellamy tells Clark and Finn to stay inside the tent with Charlotte while he goes outside to deal with Murphy. He tells Murphy that he was just giving the people what they wanted. Murphy turns to the crowd and asks if they wanted to see the real murderer hanged. No one in the crowd responds, and this angers Murphy since they had no problem watching him get hanged for nothing. Bellamy tells Murphy it is over and heads back towards the tent when Murphy knocks him out from behind. Murphy then punches Jasper and storms the tent, only to find out that Finn and Clark have already escaped with Charlotte. Raven is waiting in a long line for medical. She approaches Abby and coughs discreetly, and Abby does a cursory medical check on her before her pulling away into private, explaining the long line is due to oxygen deprivation. Raven tells Abby that Nigel would not give her the pressure regulator, and Abby tells Raven she can get the part from Nigel. Later, Abby approaches Nigel in the mess hall and slips Nigel some morphine for a pressure regulator. Clark, Finn, and Charlotte are trekking through the woods, and when Charlotte reaches for Clark's hand, Clark jerks her hand away and calls Charlotte a killer and tells her she can't just kill someone to make herself feel better. They hear Murphy and his followers calling out for Charlotte, and Finn gestures to a hatch in the ground, revealing his art supply store, or rather a pre-war bunker that the inhabitants unfortunately never made it to. They tuck Charlotte into bed, and Clark tells Finn they should share all of the supplies with the group, but he thinks he should keep it secret. Clark thinks the original owners might have been better off dying before making it to the shelter. She tells Finn that she doesn't know what to do about Charlotte, and that it's all her fault. She should have had listened to Bellamy about confronting Murphy. Charlotte listens to their conversation quietly from her bed. And then at the refurbished dropship, Abby hands Raven a pressure regulator, and Raven tells her it might take a few hours to install it. Meanwhile, Marcus Kane enters the mess hall where his mother, Vera Kane, is holding a worship service of sorts for the original members of the Ark and the last tree. Vera pauses, thinking Kane is there to see her, but Nigel tells Vera he is here to see her. Marcus Kane asks why Nigel summoned him, and Nigel tells him that both Raven and Abby asked for a pressure regulator and provides the morphine as proof. Kane leaves with the morphine. Clark awakens in the bunker to discover Charlotte missing and wakes Finn up. Meanwhile, Charlotte is running in the woods when Bellamy grabs her and tells her to keep quiet. Murphy and his lynch mob are also going through the woods searching for her. Charlotte tries to get away from Bellamy and tells him she is not his sister and to stop helping her. Bellamy tells her he won't leave her even if she begs and screams out for Murphy to get her. Clark and Finn hear Charlotte screaming for Murphy, and they think that Murphy might have her. Abby is pacing around while Raven works on the dropship. Jackson comes in on Abby's telecommunication device and asks if she stole morphine. He tells her that Kane is on the way to arrest both her and Raven. Abby can't believe that Nigel turned her in and asks Raven how much longer. Raven tells her 20 minutes, and Abby says that Kane will be there in 5. She tells Raven that no matter what, Raven needs to launch that pod with or without her and radio back, or 300 people will die. Abby asks Raven to tell Clark she loves her. Bellamy is carrying Charlotte against her will through the woods when they get stopped by the edge of the cliff. Murphy reaches them and tells Bellamy to give her up. Clark arrives and tells Murphy it has gone too far. Murphy takes Clark hostage, and Charlotte begs him not to hurt Clark. Murphy tells Charlotte if she comes with him, he will let Clark go. Bellamy stops Charlotte from going to Murphy, and Charlotte says she cannot let anyone get hurt anymore because of her before she turns around and jumps off the cliff to Bellamy, and Clark screams a protest. Bellamy turns and tackles Murphy, punching him over and over in the face until Finn pulls Bellamy off Murphy. Bellamy tells Clark that Murphy deserves to die. Clark tells him they don't get to decide that, and she was wrong before, and they need rules. She tells him that they will make the rules and they should banish Murphy. Bellamy picks Murphy up and holds him near the cliff's edge, telling him that if Murphy ever comes back to the camp, Bellamy will kill him. He then tells Murphy's four followers that they can either go back to camp or they can go with Murphy and die. The four followers head back to camp with Clark and Bellamy, while Finn tosses Murphy a knife before leaving. It is his knife that was left by Wells's fingers. Raven gets the pressure regulator hooked up as Kane heads toward the station to arrest Raven and Abby. Raven realizes the pressure regulator is broken just as Kane approaches, and Abby, who was waiting for him in the hallway, Abby tells him she did it for her daughter, and she still believes the rest are alive. Kane asks Abby what the pressure regulator is for, and if there was even a strep infection. Raven dresses in a spacesuit since the pressure in the dropship won't be regulated, and begins the launch sequence for the pod. As Kane is having Abby arrested, Raven launches the dropship and begins her descent to Earth. Abby tells Kane they have to know the truth. Clark and Bellamy explain the new rules to the rest of the people. Later at the dropship, Monty has the wristbands ready to hook up to the dropship and gives Jasper the honor of making the final connection. As Jasper makes the connection, it fries everyone's wristband, and Jackson in the Earth monitoring station witnesses all the remaining wristbands terminating at once. Finn takes off in frustration, and Clark follows after him. Jasper sits down, dejected for frying the wristbands. Octavia joins him and tells him he is not cursed. She calls him brave for standing up to a bully and tells him that bravery is always rewarded before kissing him on the lips. Awesome job, Jasper. Clark catches up with Finn at the bunker where he is throwing things around in anger because he believes everyone is going to die on the Ark, leaving them all alone on Earth. Clark says he is not alone before they have sex for the first time. Unbeknown to them, Raven continues her descent to Earth, her Raven necklace floating weightless in her escape pod. And remember that Raven and Finn are an item. Well, they were. Maybe not anymore. So that's what ends this episode of The 100. I liked it. A lot of good performances in this episode. I'm going to give the episode an 8.0 out of 10. And the standout characters are obviously Murphy, Raven, Abby, Charlotte, Finn. Obviously, we know Clark is a big focal point of every episode. I try not to give it to Clark all the time because Clark is one of the more irritating characters on the show, for me at least at the moment. So I think the main character is definitely Murphy, and I still like Raven a lot. Even Marcus Kane did a lot. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of The 100 and want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button. Otherwise, I'll have to float you, and that does help out with the algorithm quite a bit if you smash the like button. Share the video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of The 100. What would you rate the episode? Who would you pick as characters of the episode? I know there's a lot of them. I try to narrow it down sometimes, but I feel like a lot of people did the same things. They kind of brush past Wells's death a little quick. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100K subs. Yes, I know. I set my goals pretty high. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know where you're going to see on JDev TV.